Hello, I'm doing great.
Start by telling us your name and age.
My name is Umut and I'm 21 years old.
And where are we right now?
We're in Ghent in a nice coffee shop. We just went through our final jury and it was really good.
What do you study?
I'm studying interior architecture. I'm currently on my last year in bachelor's.
And how long are you planning on staying here in Ghent?
For Erasmus, it's for a year. So I'll be here until the next September.
Perfect. And what do you like doing outside of university?
Outside of studying interior architecture, I'm also a full-time artist and I love creating digital art.
Tell me, did your university have a lot of options of cities you could go to?
For interior architecture, there weren't a lot of options, but there were still enough.
Did you get into your first option?
No. This time I made two selections. I couldn't get into my first one, which was surprising. It was the University of Antwerp, but the second one was KU Leuven and I'm here now.
That's good. And are you enjoying it?
I'm very much enjoying it, yes.
Okay. Was it your first time applying to Erasmus?
No, I already applied last year during the pandemic. I was supposed to go to Milan, Polytechnic of Milan, but it was during the middle of the pandemic and the Erasmus grant wasn't enough, so I was short on the finances, so I couldn't go. I cancelled, but I'm here now.
Did a lot of universities have a language requirement?
Most of them were in English, but there were a few ones in Germany that required German and one in Portugal that required Portuguese.
And after you were accepted, was the process hard?
The process of the whole Erasmus wasn't that difficult, but afterwards it was more difficult with so many paperworks.
And did you have to apply for a visa?
Unfortunately, yes, and that's the most troublesome part because it required so much of my attention and hard work over the course of months, and it's still ongoing.
And would you have to apply for a visa if you were only here for one semester?
Yes, you have to. Even if it's for a touristic visit, you have to have a visa.
And how much is your scholarship per month?
So I'm here for a year, and in total it is 600 euros multiplied by 8. And when it's divided in months, it's like 350-ish euros a month.
And do they pay you in euros or Turkish lira?
They paid it all to me in advance in euros to my Turkish bank account, but I can't use that card here, so I have to make a SWIFT transaction to my Belgian account.
And how much more expensive would you say Belgium is compared to Istanbul?
A lot more, because the current economic situation in Turkey is not optimal at all, but sometimes things are even cheaper here because it's that crazy at this point in Turkey. But it's more expensive, especially the rent.
And how much would you say you spend per month excluding rent?
Excluding rent, I spend around 400-ish.
Okay, and how much do you pay for rent?
For rent, I'm paying 650 euros a month, bills and everything included, and the internet too.
And was it hard to find housing?
Oh, it was super challenging. Like, you really have to plan everything in advance, like 4 months in advance. I couldn't find any housing in Ghent, here in this university, so I'm staying in Brussels now.
What would you say makes the most difference in terms of expenses, groceries, rent?
Definitely the rent, because if you were to share your apartment with a few friends, let's say, your rent goes down quite a lot.
Do you share your house?
I'm sharing the apartment with the owner of the apartment, so we're just 2 people.
Tell us some of the culture shocks you had.
The culture shocks. I think the biggest one was when I'm walking around as a passenger, the cars always stop before I cross, and I'm not used to that. I'm looking at the drivers and I'm like, please go. But no. The second one was there were no bidets here in Belgium.
What are your favorite Belgian dishes?
My favorite Belgian dishes? Well, usually I'm not a beer person, but I like the beer here better than anywhere else. So beer is good. It's not a dish, of course, but it's part of the cuisine. The waffles are, of course, they're really delicious.
What about the fries?
The fries are also really good. Potatoes are always nice. I still have to try out different variations around the world to say that, but I can say that it's better than all of the fries that I've tasted before.
Okay. Would you say speaking English is enough here, or would you need to learn Dutch?
For Belgium in general, I think it's enough because there are a lot of English speakers, especially here in Ghent. Everybody speaks in English. Brussels, not so much, which should have been the opposite.
But in Brussels, would you learn Dutch or French?
If I were to live in Brussels, I would prefer learning French because there are much more French-speaking people there. I'm learning Dutch currently.
That's amazing. And why are you learning Dutch?
I'm learning Dutch because I'm planning to stay here after my Erasmus ends because I really love it here.
Is Belgium a gay-friendly country?
I would say that it definitely is. I haven't faced any homophobic comments or even not a glance or a stare, nothing.
That's really good. And talking about this, northern countries are known for having a lot of good options on Tinder. On a scale of 0 to 10, how good is your Tinder feed here?
Well, the options, everybody looks nice, but after a while they start to look a bit alike. If I were to give a point out of 10, I would say 5, because there are good options, but they don't respond back to you that much. You just get matched and...
Maybe when you go to Amsterdam.
Maybe, but currently I'm interested of pursuing someone already, so it's going well. I would say the dating scene here is exciting, yes.
Okay, exciting. Tell us, how is nightlife in Brussels?
Oh, in Brussels it's pretty wild and nice, especially the gay community. People are really friendly and open-minded and easygoing, and I find it really fun in Brussels. But Ghent, I can't say the same because it feels much smaller.
And what is the best way to get around the cities here in Belgium?
Most cities, smaller cities, you can pretty much get around anywhere with a bike, as long as the weather is nice.
I mean, people ride bikes in any weather.
You get used to it. You get used to it. But Brussels is not that bike friendly, so it's better to have like a subscription so that you can use the metro. And
how is that subscription, by the way?
For Brussels, I've only paid 12 euros for a year, and I can use all of the metros.
12?
Yes, so it's like €1 a month, which is much less compared to, let's say, Germany.
12 euros?
Yes, but I'm also paying extra for the train to go from Brussels to Ghent, and that is like 36 euros a month, which is still okay.
But tell us, how reliable are public transports here in Belgium?
Well, they work, but they get a lot of delays, especially the trains. They keep getting delayed, sometimes cancelled, but they work.
And what is your favorite city here in Belgium?
I haven't visited all of the cities, but I visited, of course, Brussels, Ghent, Antwerp, Bruges. And I would say my favorite is Brussels, despite its not so pretty sides. I still admire those because I need to be living in a big city coming from Istanbul.
How easy is it to travel around Belgium?
I think it's pretty easy because the cities are very well connected with the trains. You can just hop on a train and be there quickly.
How many classes are you taking here?
I'm taking 4.
And how's your schedule?
Classes on Monday, Tuesday and Thursday. On Monday it's from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. And on Tuesday it's from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. So the full day is filled with projects. And on Thursday it's from 8:30 until some random time when the teacher wants to end it.
And how long are the classes?
Some of them are pretty long. For example, the class on Thursday, the first class, the morning class that we have, it's from 8:30 until 1. And it's a theoretical class, so you have to sit there for 4 hours.
With no windows.
With no windows, and the seats are uncomfortable. But it's okay. It's the student life.
How many people are there in your classes?
Well, I don't know. For the project that we have on Tuesday, the main project, there are like 20-ish people now.
And are there a lot of Erasmus students?
I would say a good amount. I think we're 6 in our project. 6 Erasmus students, including me.
And where are we from?
So there are 2 from Portugal, including you. Yes, hello. 2 from Portugal, 2 from Australia, and 1 from the Netherlands.
What is your favorite subject here?
What is my favorite subject? Well, I would say that I enjoyed the project the most, the main class, Implement Studio, because it's the main studio and it was the most fun to work with you.
Thank you. And what was your least favorite?
My least? Well, I think it's the morning class on Thursday because I really cannot focus on a theoretical class anymore. So it's just torture. But the teacher is nice.
Okay, and how are the teachers apart from that one?
Speaking of that, I would say that they're very friendly. they're very easy to approach.
And do they all speak in English? Like, do they make an effort to speak only in English?
Everybody does, so far.
Even the other people in your class, do they speak in English when they have to present something?
Like 95% of them, they do. Some prefer to present in Dutch, which is completely understandable, but most of them do speak pretty good level of English.
What's the main difference between architecture project in Turkey and here?
I would say that here, the teachers let you more free, that they're more open to your imaginations and ideas, which sometimes can be challenging because you have to think about so much stuff. But in Turkey, it's much more structured. Do this, do that. But I prefer it much more here because it forces you to be creative.
How fashionable are people in Belgium?
I would say that everybody dresses well, but if you're coming from a different culture, let's say, or country, you can still blend in pretty well in the public. So you won't be standing out.
What song best describes your Erasmus experience until now?
What song? That's a good question. There's this one song that I always come back to. It's an old song. It's called Act Like You Know. Kind of makes sense because I'm doing stuff here, but I'm acting like I know things. Sometimes things just don't make sense, and that's okay. It's the Erasmus life.
On a scale of 0 to 10, how close would you say this experience is to the ones you see in the movies and TV shows?
I would say it's much better than it's in the movies. It feels like I'm living in a movie. It's like Emily in Brussels, Emily in Ghent.
Perfect, that's the name of our WhatsApp group.
Yes. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say 100.
You came here alone, right?
Yes, that's the sad part. Aslam, if you're watching this, my best friend, we were supposed to come here with her, but she couldn't win, so I came alone.
And how hard was it for you to start meeting new people?
I think at first, through dating a lot of people in Brussels, I got to know a lot of people. As a young adult in a new city, new country, I think it's really hard to make new connections and establish them. So it's challenging sometimes.
What is your favorite thing about doing Erasmus?
I would say that seeing a lot of cultures and a lot of different backgrounds and meeting people from those different backgrounds, I think it's really eye-opening.
What about your favorite thing in Belgium?
In Belgium, I would say that coming from Istanbul, Turkey, I have finally found myself here and I feel free like I've never been before. And yes, I think that's the best thing someone can experience in a foreign country.
What has been a big struggle as an Erasmus student?
I think it's a struggle, but it also forces you to grow. So you're mostly on your own. You're doing things on your own that you've never done before. And it gets challenging because you're on your own, you're alone, but that forces you to be stronger. It's a challenge, but also a blessing.
It's a good challenge.
Yes.
If you could choose any city on earth to do your next Erasmus, where would you go?
If I were to have a choice and money was no object, I think I would choose Amsterdam because it's a really pretty city.
I agree. I would choose the same.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it together.
Yes.
Okay, and that's everything.
Thank you so much for
having me. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.